What's up, dudes? Welcome back to the mothership. Today we're going to give you an unboxing and an install video of the Bung highway bars for the 2020 Lowrider S. As you can see right off the bat, these are already on the bike. So we recorded an intro video before they were on the bike and we lost all of our footage. So before we even get into anything, I just want to point out this is not my bike. If this was my bike, I'd have 4 controls already on this bike because I'm a little bit taller. But these highway bars are fantastic for me. This is exactly where I want my feet. And for someone who's a little shorter like Tony, this is a great way for him to stretch out. So I just want to get that off the bat. These are awesome. But let's unbox them, let's throw them on the bike, and let's see what Tony thinks, because that's really what matters. This is his bike. So let's get to it, dudes. Okay, tools we need is pretty simple. We need Torx wrench. This is a 45 and a 50. And then unfortunately we're in Tony's garage, so he doesn't have what we need, obviously, because it's Tony. So you're gonna need the Allen set. These are in metric, so this is a 7 and 8. Technically we want something in SAE, but because we're not actually torquing them down, these will probably work in a pinch. Other than that, we just need Loctite, and that's really it. So let's throw these things on the bike.
Guys, what we're gonna do is there's two T45 bolts in here you have to remove to get this foot control off, and then these 2 plastic pieces that you have to remove as well, because you'll utilize all 4 of these bolt holes for the setup. So I'm gonna get to it and we'll just go from there. So guys, what just happened was, from the factory, Harley plugs these holes with these plastic, I don't even know what they're called, but they go in and they actually catch the threads. So in order to get them out, the easiest way I found was to pretty much pull up one corner, grab it with needle nose pliers, and just twist it out like a screw. It gets to a point where you can just twist it out by hand, but I believe as you get the hang of it, it'll get easier and easier. All right, guys, so what we just did was we took the bolts out for the foot controls And we had to also take out the bolt for the rear brake assembly. The big difference here is that there's a lot more weight, and as you saw, Ben hopped in and actually helped hold this up as I was loosening the bolts to take it off. So now, before we move on and actually start installing the highway bars, we have one more of those plastic little inserts that we have to pull, and then that will complete the prep on the bike before we actually put in the highway bar.
All right, guys. So unfortunately, my camera just froze when I was trying to record what we did here. Basically, I'm not going to take everything off to do it again because it was kind of a pain. So what we did is we put some foam, the stuff that came in the box, we put it over the fenders to make sure we didn't scratch anything inadvertently. And then you really need two people for this part. We snuck the bars underneath the bike and then got them up into place. And then we used the 1-inch bolts that came with it, and we attached 2 on one side and then 1 on this side just to get it, hand tight so it's on there. And now we're going to move on to the next phase.
So guys, we're at the point where we're going to actually put the foot controls back onto the bike. The Bung Kings come with supplied bolts. They're in their instructions, they're called the longer bolts. But with the Two Brothers Racing exhaust that I have on my bike, there's actually a spacer and a big washer to move the foot controls away so it can actually fit around the heat shield. So I'm going to, instead of using the supplied bolt from Bung King, I'm going to use the bolt that was already in there. So that way we actually have enough reach of the bolt with the spacer and washer that were already on there.
All right, guys, so we finally got the foot pedals back on. It actually took us a little bit longer because of Anthony's exhaust. So for his exhaust, because it sits a little bit further, we had to put those spacers on. And the problem is you're basically lining up 3 things. You're lining up the foot controls, you're lining up the bike, and you're lining up the bar. So what we ended up doing, it's a little method I used actually to do my baffles on my exhaust on my bike. I took an Allen wrench and I put it through the other side. And so I had one of them lined up, and I put a screwdriver through the other one, and then we just slowly worked one of the bolts forward and pulled out the Allen wrench on the other side. It still was a pain, but we actually got it done. So let's move on to the other side, which will be much easier, and then we'll finish this piece, and then we'll work on putting the back pegs on.
This side's going to be much easier than the other side. It's just literally 2 bolts using the ones that they supplied. They're a little bit longer than the ones that were on here stock. So once I'm gonna get them hand tight, and then once I have it all lined up, back them out and then Loctite them and torque them down and finish it up. All right, dudes, so as you can see, we completed this install of the Bung King highway bar, and I have to say right off the bat, I'm very happy with my purchase. I don't regret it at all. There's 2 things that I always look for in a product when I'm putting it on my bike is function and aesthetics, and this checks both the boxes because it's going to not only protect my bike if I go down, but it also gives me the ability to actually stretch out my legs on the highway, and that's exactly what I was looking for. 2 things that I would say is I'm probably going to put some form of sandpaper like grip tape right for a skateboard on the highway peg, so that way I have a little bit of grip. And then the other thing that I would say is that right off the bat, the proximity of my feet to my shifter and my rear brake is a little bit closer than I would like, but I think with some mileage and just getting used to it, it's going to be nothing but exactly what I was looking for. And so with that, guys, if you like what you saw, if there's anything you think we could have done differently or better, by all means, drop us a comment, subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you guys around. Ride safe, dudes. Or you can put on horizon level, but it looks pretty good. Useless.